Very happy to have KCC and the Workforce Investment Group here this evening. We've got a wonderful partnership with KCC as far as expanding opportunities not only for the students of Lakeview High School, but for the citizens of Lake County as well. And I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Roberto Gutierrez from KCC.
It's good to be back. I think last time I was back, I was on a motorcycle with was it this summer? I think it was this summer. And I was with our vice provost from Oregon State University and took the opportunity to ride on motorcycles over here. And then when we started here, then we ended up on the pastry. We had a great time. So I don't have the leathers today. I do have the other suits. So bear with me. I'm going to go through today what's happening across our nation and why education is so important and what drives KCC and what drives us. And obviously we have a branch campus over here. I think it's important for you to know about why we do what we do. Okay, getting into the program here. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening across our nation, U.S. workforce transformation. Can you hear me okay now? All right, okay. Mostly going to talk about the employment trends across the nation, some local demographics here in Lakeview, a college and career for all initiative that we are doing across Southern Oregon, working together, and also at the end talk a little bit about the expansion of Klamath Community College. Go ahead, Julie. I think it's important to look at these numbers. 1973, you can see this is 91 million, workforce of 91 million. What was required to be part of the middle class was 72%. Of new jobs was high school and below. And you could be part of the middle class. Around here, probably the males. Definitely around Klamath. And you could just go to high school, or again, even be a high school dropout and get a good job in the mills or other areas and be part of the middle class. You can see what's happening by 2007. New jobs, almost 70% of the new jobs will require something after high school. So now this is definitely shrinking. And we got, basically we have 41%. And this is 2020, 4 years from now. And so what's going to happen, and it's happening already, we're going to have the shrinking of the middle class. Because we need to educate our populace. You can, if you need something, especially for a high school population, you need something after high school, or else you're going to be poor. That wasn't the case years ago. It wasn't the case for your grandparents or even your parents, but it is for this new generation, the Gen X generation. You need something after high school, or else you're going to be. A lot of people think it's going to stay there because you always need some people to flip workers and all that. So minimum wage stuff. But you cannot raise a family on minimum wage salaries. So you can see why we have. I take this very personal. Why we have a sense of urgency at Klamath Community College, because these are sobering statistics. So again, because we're competing with the rest of the world. That wasn't the case before. Now many people believe that the middle class growth strength will never again have it like we did before. But we just don't know by how much. Now we pride ourselves in our nation to having a strong, vibrant middle class. And that's why we got to do something about this. We have to educate our population. Or else, again, we're going to have a chink of the middle class. And this is just some general information. Again, this is across the nation, but it does reflect Klamath Community College. I think they're going to do batteries, so I will. Okay. Can you hear me better now? Yeah. Okay. All right. This is just general information. So you can see that the majority of our students that are getting educated are women. Again, this is just information, especially graduate school. 60% of the graduate students are women. The question is, what are the implications? Maybe there isn't any. We don't know. But that is happening. And the KCC is a reflection on this. Some community demographics. This is Lake. This is the poverty status of Lake. So approximately 18% of Lake County are in poverty. So of those people, half of those people have a high school diploma or less. What's happening, if you go back to the other graph, what's happening is that if you're not getting educated, you're feeding this number right here. Because you're becoming poor. You're trying to live, raise a family on a minimum wage. It's just not going to work. So we have to do something about that other. That's why we have to educate our population. Whether it be, whatever it may be, it is something, and whether it be a skill, well-being, or transfer, but you need something. And to also be prepared, and also to prepare you for the new jobs, and that requires also critical thinking skills. Apple took a lot of their manufacturing to China, and there's a different education base in other countries. So over there, they teach you basically how to do a skill. That's it. Here, we pride ourselves in the United States that not only how to learn a skill, but also how to think. And that's critically important for our democracy. That we teach our students how to think. We don't want just widget makers. And that's very important. Not only to, again, so there's that, because the liberal arts are taking quite a beat lately. Let's be careful with that. Where do we think innovation comes from? From the apples and so on. It comes from that thinking. And that's part of the liberal arts. So I do believe in that critical thinking. But again, you need a job at the other end. So anyway, getting back to Apple. So they sent their manufacturing several years ago, starting about 10, 12 years ago, to China. And over there, keep in mind, it's not critical thinking, because obviously they don't have a democracy. They think they do, but they don't. So they want widget makers. That's what they want. Well, Apple was never really improving the product. It had to come from the United States, and it was never improved on the line, like we're used to here. Well, it's coming back. See, again, it's that critical thinking. Those people on the line are thinking critically how to improve that phone, and so on. So again, it's just not just about skill, but also how to improve that product. And we need to educate our students to prepare for that job in 10 years. So, and this is the percentage of deaf students compared to across all community colleges. I need to explain that a little bit about community college, because most people don't know the difference. Community college is an American idea. The biggest difference between a university and a community college is access. University model we adopted from Europe. Harvard being the first one, 1636. And that model is, if you're good enough, maybe you can come to the university. I mean, I had to do the same thing. I applied, most of us don't want to apply, and somebody somewhere in some room, probably an administrator, faculty, made decisions on our lives, our careers. You see how important that was. Well, who we are as a nation, we turned that on its head. We said, no way. We're going to change that. So the community college idea was birthed in the United States, and that is open access. What that means is that, some administrator or some professor is not going to make that decision. You will have access to higher education. You got to work hard, but we're used to working hard in this nation. You got to work hard, but you will have access to higher ed. It's not the European model. There's a need for both. Obviously, the European universities are a strong research component. That's important. But what we do best is teaching. Why? Because we're open access, just like you have here too. The same thing. You don't pick and choose. You have open access. The same thing with the community college. Now, this idea is going across the world now. I think Australia just adopted the open access community college model. Even England is thinking about it. But that's the biggest difference between us. So we are a reflection on the community that we serve versus a university. People in my university picks and chooses, the cream of the crop. So they're not a reflection. So if you look at this, this is the academically unprepared students across all community colleges. And you can see where we're at, Klamath. We have the most academically unprepared students. And a lot of that has to do with a non-college going culture that we have, that we serve. And so that means because people were used to their meals and so on, and so there isn't that college going culture. We're trying to change that. This is about 2.5 years old now. This number is way down now. This is definitely down because what we are doing is working. So you can see some of the, this is metro area, areas, a lot less, but we're definitely higher than most, than all community colleges across Oregon. This is really, I want to be very blunt. This is embarrassing. I've been accused of not pulling punches, so this is part of it. I love my state where I live, but this is embarrassing. As far as academically, as far as high school dropout in the United States, we are the worst. We're the only orange you see up there, the worst in the United States. Something's wrong somewhere in our state. I would think when this came out, the Oregonian put this out. I think Herald the News carried this picture. But you would think heads would roll somewhere whenever something like this comes out. So based on the numbers, whenever we wanted to do something about educational attainment, you see, we did look across Oregon, but Oregon is not a good model. So we looked across the United States. I might get into that. Julie? Okay, so then again, this is a College and Career for All initiative because we have a lot of work to do. So again, if we don't do something, we will have the treatment of the middle class. And that's important to me that doesn't happen. So this is what it is. Again, we looked for an idea because we didn't have time to experiment with a model that worked. So we looked for an idea that's already out there. We couldn't find nothing in Oregon, so we went across the nation. We found a place in Texas. So this is what it is. We need to create a college-going culture more than ever before. I know here in Lake there's some of that because you did some work through I think years ago you had. That's right. That's right. So you do have something. Yeah. So you do have some of that here. And again, so we looked at Clarksville, but mostly McAllen, Texas. Something that worked, again, so we didn't have to recreate the wheel. And the research shows that it did work. Hence, that's why one of the things that we're doing is college credit right at the high school. And actually, we got the idea from Texas. So these are the counties that are involved with this initiative. It's Lake, Klamath, Jackson, and Josephine. We do have Burns, what's the county up here? Harney. We do have Harney that there's been some contact with Harney. They want to know what's going on here. What's going on in Lake? How did KCC get here? Then we want some of this too. So I do have some probably a meeting coming up with Burns. So they may join us. We'll see. So anyway, but right now it's these. Now these are. Yeah, go ahead to go back because that's why I have the map. So you do have these counties right here involved in this initiative. So again, what we did is we leave it up to you. But what we did is when we found this idea in Texas, then I said, okay, so then I'm gonna, first of all, I took the superintendents at the time, all of us went down and looked at what they were doing. How would they really turn this poverty rate around that they had? Huge poverty rates too. And so then once we seen what they were doing, it was just amazing. And obviously we wanted to replicate that here. But then we took, I think at the time we took VPs in the college, some superintendents that went back to the principals down there. Sean couldn't take the principals at the time. And then after that we weren't done. I said, okay, you know what? Let's take some state leaders from Salem over this so they can see how they're going to turn this around in our state. You know, these shameful numbers up there in our state. So we took some representatives with us. Actually, Senator Woodson was one of those, several others, that went with us to Texas to see that. And we just said, okay, we are going to do something here. Salem, great. Let us know how we can help you, but we're not waiting around. I mean, there's no way. We're gonna move forward with this, and we're not gonna wait around for money either. Because they said, well, maybe we'll fund you. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna find ways to do this, and we've been very successful with grants, so on. So these are the counties that are heavily involved in this initiative. So this is really important about the strong message about our work. Enough of this. No more blame game. This affects all of us. So because I see that a lot, and then when I got there, I heard this from some people, one faculty in particular. Well, it's the K-12 problem. That's why. And then he did something in front of some people that said, no, we're not. That's not acceptable. No more finger pointing. Enough of this. That third grader is our third grader. I care about that third grader. Kindergarten is part of KCC too. So no more blame game, because this is an excuse not to do anything. It's always somebody else's fault. We're not going to do that. That's not how we operate at KCC. No more trying to improve student outcomes in isolation. We need to work together. So that this is part of working together, all of us working together on this initiative. Because we can move forward together by ourselves. And that's been the problem many times. We're in silos constantly, not working together. And that's not what KCC does. We work together with many entities. School districts and other entities, universities, and so on, and to gain other sources of income. Because, frankly, our population cannot afford another tax increase. And I know that. We have poor people here that try to make it. So we don't depend on another levy or something like that. We find other ways to do it. We have been successful. And this is the beginning of genuine collaboration, authentic shared ownership. Again, working together. Non-negotiable. More high school seniors must be college and career ready when they leave high school. You can see why. Because if you don't, you're going to be poor. I was asked to be a keynote speaker a couple of years ago at one of the high schools in Klamath. And I started, and I did tell the superintendent about this. I said, you sure you want me to speak? Because I'm going to be very blunt. No, go ahead. All right. I started by saying, if you don't continue your education, you're going to be poor. Then I definitely got their attention. They were just like, said, let me talk about the data that backs up what I just said. So that's why number 5 is so important. We need to work together, and then that's why the seniors need to be college career ready. And no more dev ed, because really dev ed, what that is, it's just another high school. And guess what? Again, we taxpayers are paying twice now. Enough of this. So we're paying twice. We're paying, obviously here, we're paying at the college, because obviously the college is a public entity. So we can't do that. So we're working to make sure that for example, by granting college credit, those students get more excited, and then when they leave here, they may have a year or maybe less. When they move on to college, we don't care where they go. It's okay. If they want to go someplace else, we just care if they get something. Obviously, I said they go to KCC, but no, it's not about that. So that's why this is so important. And we as educators cannot make this type of transformational change alone. Again, we must have a strong partner in economic development. So we made some major changes in Klamath in economic development. No more cushy jobs. No more just say, well, we would attract more companies if we were by the I-5 corridor. No more excuses. Enough of this. So you do need to do your job, and your job is to attract good companies, middle-class salaries to our communities. So we're making some changes in economic development. And finally, come on, Oregon, please, incentivize some of this stuff. So we do need the state to help us out every now and then, to incentivize. And they're doing some of this, but it almost seems like they do the dump truck. We gotta figure it out. But anyway, obviously the state is a key partner in some of this work. But it is very important work that we are doing because it's about human potential. And now, again, more than ever. So this is the vision for the work, and I don't want to read it for you. I do have some handouts, and it's there in the car, so I will get it up here of this. Go back one to if you could, please. That we want, right now, basically, without some of this work, the top 20% are going to move on. So, and maybe that was okay years ago because you could get a job without any setting up in high school, but not no more. So it can't be just the top 20%. It needs to be all. So what does that mean? It could be that, okay, maybe a high school student needs to get a CDL. That's okay. Because CDL drivers, when we have the program at KCC, pay $37,000 or so a year. It's all right. That's not minimum wage. And that may take, 3 to 4 months to get, you get a CDL. So, or it could be a person wants to get into the medical profession. And KCC is just a stepping stone. That's okay too. But you need something after high school. So again, this is what we're talking about here, and I don't want to read it for you. So some kind of certificate, some college credit, and something after that you get it here. So the plan is to actually get it right here at the high school. And we've been successful. A lot of this, Jim, I have to really acknowledge your hard work in some of this, and some of the grants here. Because really working with you at the very beginning, 2 years ago, helping us to acquire the first grant here for the technology piece. I mean, KCC invested in the technology here, but then after that we took off when I first came in here. So we did invest 50,000, I think it was 50,000 for the technology. But I knew that Lakeview was serious when they said, okay, we want the technology. You move in there, we won't charge you rent, and away we go. So that way I knew that you need business. You weren't just doing this. So you are a true partner. And then later on, Jim, we took off on some of those grants. Then I think, starting this fall, I think we got the technology here, is that right? We hit the high school. Yeah, all over there. And then we do have it across Lake County. Paisley, I think North Lake, and I'll share some of that. And we're just getting started. I think again, Burns wants some of this action too, so they probably will get it. So, because that's another rural county.
Start off with first class this term. Lonnie, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, our first class is an intro to accounting class. So you guys are teaching on your end, and then we have students here with one of our teachers, so that they're kind of teaming together on that.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So I think later we bought the equipment, so you actually have a two-way. You can go back and forth, so you could teach faculty here, teach back to KCC. And I think some of you know how this works, so maybe I'll take a little time, but the old way of just having somebody here and hiring an adjunct professor and having 3 or 4 students, that's the old way. I mean, we looked at that business plan doesn't work. So that's when I came here and going, okay, we need a paradigm shift because we'll never be able to serve these rural counties. So that's why we looked at using technology, not just distance ed, not the web stuff, but actually synchronous, live, and that's where you're going to step up. It's almost like being there. I mean, obviously not quite, but well, kind of is almost, So, and that's the technology we are utilizing, and that's the kind of work that's actually spreading across, Southern Oregon, and a lot of these other school districts want some of that. So then what happens is that professor at KCC may have 15 students over there, and now they may have 3 or 4 here, 5, and later on they may have 3 or 4 down there in Paisley. Okay, so you see, now we got some efficiencies. So we're being very efficient with the taxpayers' monies. So, and the old way just the business plan didn't work out. It just wasn't possible to do that. So, this is a pathway that we put together for every student. Obviously, we don't lower our standards because a lot of these classes are transferable, onto universities. So it's rigorous. But I found out, when I started K-12, I was a social science teacher years ago. But what I found out, and some of you teachers, know that if you lower your standards in the classroom, students are going to meet those standards. But if you don't lower them, most students, if you hold them accountable, they will meet those standards. We just don't have, we lower our standards too much. We will not do that at KCC, and we won't. And it's happening. Most students will meet those standards. Obviously, expanded dual credit opportunities, for high school students that want to get a heads up. Obviously, if you get credit here, you definitely, you're doing something about the big problem that we have across the nation, besides what I talked about earlier, and that's student debt. Many say that's the next bubble. The next, obviously we had the housing bubble in 08. That's the next, it's a big problem. And that's what we're trying to do here. You get it right here at the high school. So you don't have to later on go into debt. So, and I've been, asked about that. Well, aren't you kind of giving away the store, by having credit? We do the right things for the right reasons. Things will work out. And they have. That's what we do. And they work out just about every time. We do the right things for people we serve, and things work out. So, no, we're not giving away the store. We're serving people in communities like this one that need it. That would not being served before. This is the dual enrollment. This is how we do it. Online synchronous high school and like KCC. So the goal in Texas had this. Again, this is not our idea. In some, they did have a STEM high school. We're talking about one of the big cities there. They have the whole, Julie, you went with us, remember that? They have a whole certificate at the high school. I mean, I shook my head, I go, what? They were doing it, and those high school students were doing it. So they have the whole certificate, so obviously, we already have several students already doing this, when they get the high school diploma, and they get the certificate at the same time. But some of the students come to us, but they're doing well at the high school. So Texas is doing it. So this is nothing, so we can't say, well, it can't be done. Yes, it can. So that's the goal down the road to have that. I think a short-term goal to maybe down the road have a certificate right at the high school. So students are getting the certificate, whatever they may be right here, in Lakeview. And then go on, if later on, maybe move on to our ILC for the rest, or transfer to university or transfer, if they want to come to KCC. So again, this is one of the goals right here. So the pathway all the way through. And again, I already showed why this is so important. We can't say no to this. We have to do something. Again, the problem will be the shrink of the middle class if we don't do something about this. This is some evidence of success. This was, I think she was, you see, saying, I'm not sure if it's a young lady or a young man saying it. I think it's a young lady. She was featured.
Yes, girl.
It's a young lady. So she was featured a couple of years ago, I think, or so, or maybe a year ago on the Health News. And then I think the headline was "Education for the Future." So she received a lot of the college credit right here at the campus. So she did a lot of the dual credit. We checked transcripts. She's getting real close to a certificate. I should have got that way. She's a go-getter. So anyway, he did a advanced degree. He's getting really close to a degree also. He's also doing really well because I checked them. So this is about a year on. Let's see how they're doing. They're doing very well. Both of these students. They're here from Lakeview. He wants to be, obviously, I think he wants to be, he wants to get into computer science. Obviously, we have that program now at KCC, a very program, computer science. And this is some of the pathways that we do have in Klamath with both school districts. And this pathway starts right at the high school and goes into our, this is the LPN, it goes to the CNA. CNA is the 1 year. That leads right to the pathway to our RN program. It's a multi-million-dollar, about $1 million RN program, our lab that we have at KCC. So anyway, and she's on her way to possibly being an RN. So, and she's at Mazama High School, I believe. We need to work, maybe we need to talk about that, maybe setting up some similar pathways here. Depends on the needs and so on. Because we have, is it five pathways? Is that where it's Yeah, so is it computer, science, business? Okay, so allied health, occupations, am I missing? Health, education, that's right. Trades, that's right, welding, okay. We do have, starting this fall, we have a major partner in Southern Oregon University, and to have the teaching certificate right at KCC, the bachelor's degree. We hope to have the MBA right at KCC. So now the technology is being utilized from going back and forth with them. So we didn't have the technology, and I remember the meeting that we had with their administrators at SOU, and I said, well, we'll buy it. We'll buy it for you, it's okay. They did end up buying it. I think they were a little bit embarrassed. SOU is a great partner. We have, the negotiations started when we started by saying, we don't want lots of credit. We mean business when we say that. Because there's a little secret in hiring. A lot of these students can lose their credit. And we're not going to play that game at KCC. We know what that's like when they're gonna play the game. So obviously we went to several universities, and the only one that really took us on that is SOU. And that's why they were our partner of the year this last year, Southern Oregon University. So we have 24 programs, the most. I think the closest one is 8 or 9. I think it's Lane and U of O. No loss of credit. So when we say 4-year degree, you mean 4-year degree. And so that's amazing the work that they've done over there. Because that's not our work. And so that means that the student stays on that path, it's guaranteed, no loss of credit. So it starts with the high school. It could be that they only spend a year with us, and they move on to a 4-year degree at SOU. And some of these classes, especially the education, are being, most of them are coming to our campus. So again, we mean business, and SOU also means business, no less credit. So I'm very proud to call them one of the most important higher ed partners. So in defense of OIT, they are the STEM university. It's a little more difficult for them to do that. So I'm not going to get into the business, but just it is a little more difficult for OIT to do some of this. So we moved on, and SOU answered our call. So this is what we're trying to accomplish with this initiative. So again, I'm not going to read it for you, but no, this one here, we have a lot of poverty. I'll show you the numbers, but we have actually a lot more in Klamath. There's quite a bit more poverty in Klamath. At one time, there was 11 meals in Klamath. I think we're down to 2. And the culture still, we need to change that culture. You gotta get out the mentality that you're just gonna go to the meal like your father did or your grandfather. The jobs are gone. So anyway, we need to defeat the cycle of poverty. We as taxpayers are going to pay it anyway. We either pay it in social services or we pay it in education. And this is the best way, the most efficient way. College credit right at the high school. The most efficient way for taxpayers and for people. This is the best way. And we want to keep our brightest here. So I do believe that if we have a well-educated, well-trained workforce, and I do believe that strongly, we will attract good companies that pay better price salaries. Right now, when they look at some of our statistics, I mean, they look at some of our poverties, and they look at our non-educational attainment. They move on to Portland, the Bend. We got to stop that. So we need to keep our brightest here. And that means if we have that, then again, we will attract. So we need to help also our businesses, and that's a 7 o'clock meeting that we have. I am part of that board, I'm the chair, and I purposely put myself on that board. I had to work with the other presidents. And now we're, the first time in quite a few years, so we're being represented on this side of this thing. So we do mean business. So anyway, again, this is part of what we need to do that. And then also, again, the critical thinking, if they're going to stay here, maybe they want to start their own company. The innovation and so on. And because the savior many times is not a big, large company that's going to move to Klamath for 300 jobs. It's a small mom-and-pop store, place that hires 3 or 4 people. That's, in many ways, that's the backbone of our nation. That small business that many times is neglected. I think I'm singing your praises here, Jeff, as the chamber over there too, as part of the chamber. Yeah, that's right. So you guys know this stuff, both of you being chamber presidents or executive directors. This is this was done through grants. We go to Jim. You started this process with us. We have taken it to scale. There's one thing at KCC that we do well. We recognize good ideas when we see them, and we take them to scale. Texas is an example. Some of the work with the grants that you did here, we definitely take it to scale, Jim. So this is the hub. We have 2 hubs right here, and we beam our courses. Here. This is what we started. You were the beta test here at Lakeview. And now we're beaming here, again live. This is live. And now we're through several million, about $1 million total. Now we're all the way to Crescent and here. And now we're possibly going to Harnett County. And that's the synchronous delivery mechanism. This is the way that it works. That business plan works this way. The other way is much more difficult. Anyway, we We have had California interested in some of this, but a year and a half ago or so, we said we need to serve our state first. So, this is some of our transfer opportunities for our students. Obviously, we have Southern Oregon, OSU, strong partner, especially the ag program. Obviously, that's my alma mater. So, and I think, can I come again, Julie? I think you, so we have SOU and OIT and OSU. A major transfer opportunities for our students. I believe pretty soon this is going to be the highest SOU because of what I just talked about. The No Loss of Better initiative. OIT is pretty large right now too. And then I think OSU is coming up a little bit, quite a bit more. So, all right. So when you do these things, when you think about serving, especially serving people and find ways to serve people, this is what happens. This is a flat right here. This is the community college in the state. This is flat. You can see some have taken a strong downturn. This is their enrollments. You can see where we're at. You know, this is Oregon Coast. They're very small. I mean, they're like 300 FTEs, 400 FTEs, I think, or maybe a little bit larger. So, but we didn't set out to increase enrollments. That wasn't our goal. We set out to do the right thing for the right reasons. And this is the outcome of that. So, very financially stable because of this, because of our efficiencies. Again, how do we serve rural counties like this? Use technology, whatever it is, so that not only are we serving you, but we're also being very efficient. And look what our enrollments are doing. So, again, when I talked about earlier, aren't you giving away the store? You do the right thing for the right reasons, it will work out. So, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the expansion that's happening at Klamath Community College, Klamath Falls. Again, I talked about earlier, we need to find different ways to do this because, we have poor communities. So, the automatic thing that happens, well, let's go to the taxpayers. And sometimes that needs to happen for a levy or for a bond. But we've got to find other ways to do this besides just going to the taxpayers for the tax increase. And we did. We worked very hard, full-time grant writer, and this is one of Julie's areas that she oversees external programs, and that means also external funding. So through her leadership, through the grant writing position and so on, we're able to acquire several pretty large grants. So one of them was over $3 million, plus we have several others. And when you prove success, like the stuff that I just showed, the numbers that I showed, people want to be at your table. They want to be part of the success. They want to get on the train. And we say, get on board. Just show us your check. Foundations and so on, and grants and so on. So they do. So this is our campus right now, and this area. So go ahead and go to the next one, Julie. This is the expansion. It's going to be a little bit different now. Can we go back? Because I don't think it shows it doesn't show this one. This is a whole new building right here, and so is this one. The rest is the old campus, and there's no longer going to be a road through this. It's going to be a unified campus. This one right here is where we got the majority of the grant monies. This building. That deals with partnerships, with business, workforce, K-12s. We are busing a lot of the students from local high schools for welding and technical programs right here, whatever that may be, and just making it to taxpayers. So anyway, so that's a big, large building. And go ahead and go to the next one. And then this is going to be a one-stop center, because right now our students go all over the place for books, for advising. It's going to be a one-stop center, one place, no more confusion. This is where you come in, this is all your needs are being met. You walk out, register with your books, and you're done. Right out of this building. This is a side of the building. Again, it's going to be a little bit different, pretty close, but it's going to be more open, more right here than before. So this is a picture where it stands now. So we're going to gain about 40% more space, almost the campus. And again, I'm very proud because we did it without a bond or a levy and without raising tuition. That's unheard of. Unheard of. that we didn't even waste tuition to do this. We did it through a lot of hard work. We got a lot of good employees, good faculty. When we started this project, and when I came to KCC almost 4 years ago now, there was no distance at Klamath Community College, zero, nothing. So I shared the vision with our employees and how we're gonna be more open access. And I have to say, they just said, show us the way. They roll up their sleeves and they went to work. Because you don't do these things alone. You need to work with strong partnerships and the employees and so on. And that's why we move so fast, because we got good people at KCC. Good staff, good administration, and good faculty. So with that, I'll open up with questions. If you have some questions for me, whatever they may be. Did I do a good job or very confusing?
Specific to Lakeview and the establishment of the Distance Learning Center here, KCC's involvement in ILC. Where do you see development of KCC's efforts in Lakeview going over the next several years?
I need to meet your needs, whatever those may be. Don't just package it, have our cameras and say this is what you need. So, but I would think maybe, maybe talk about this as well. Maybe you need some kind of pathways. Maybe that's next. And some kind of pathway so that, I'm not sure what that is. We know that our superintendents told us what they were down there. This is the pathways that we like to do. So that would be started right at the high school. There's a pathway all the way through. And all the way through, let's say, as one of your students wants to be a teacher, certificate teacher. So all the way through, we could do a pathway, and then it's possible that we do it synchronously, and that could be SOU, right here. That's a possibility, right here. And then they do the teaching certification right here for you, and they get to stay home. And that model we use for our rural nursing, model. That we built the nursing program here, working with Charlie Twait at the hospital, and we designed it for rural. And he has, because it's very competitive, a lot of people want to get into nursing programs. So we did set aside some seats for the account in a rural, for our nursing program. So to try to answer your question, we're open to doing more than we are using the we already have the technology in place, the foundation's there. So what are the needs that Lakeview wants? Maybe it's a technical program. So because we're closer, obviously, so the welding, you have a welding lab here. What can we do? Can we put college credit in that welding lab and to be more certified, to be a certified welder? Obviously, we have that on our campus. So we are very open to meeting the needs of Lakeview. So we need to have those conversations with the leadership of the school district and the community.
Well, I'm excited about the potential too. We have quite a bit of talk. Jim Walls can probably chime in on this. And truly, we have potential Red Rock biofuels coming in. We're really trying very hard to attract other sources of economic development in the community, and the way to really, increase that level of attraction is education and partnering with KCC and providing some training opportunities for those specific entities that might bring in Lakeview. So I see a lot of potential in that regard too. And plus the partnership we already have with Lakeview High School through the geosynchronous classrooms and everything else is providing some wonderful opportunities for our youth. Lakeview, Lakeview is a simple thing. So I still see good things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have, just what Sarah just said, I think if you have a company that wants to look at Lakeview, wants to move here, but you don't have the educational base here, this is truly serious, to customize some of the curriculum for that company. Or we'll go right here, we'll give the courses, whatever. Yeah, we're very open to do that. We do it quite a bit over there in Klamath. Customize a curriculum for a company, for the workers. So, sure.
Dr. Gutierrez, within your own family, since you mentioned you run the gamut in education, you're in the higher ed end of things, your wife is a kindergarten end. What can we do as community members to try and help encourage our parents to encourage their students to continue in higher ed. I'm seeing possibly a gap and a challenge for our educators that I don't know that the parental support is there for a lot of these kids. And we have a lot of wonderful programs like the Lake County Youth Mentor Program is trying to step in for young people there. But and this is fabulous. This is a wonderful plan. This is awesome. I'm a parent of two college graduates myself and with extensive graduate degrees. But for those children who don't have the support and the backing, I think part of this picture needs to be some kind of mentorship, and possibly Mrs. Chavez can speak to this from the high school, possibly the folks from the COIC can. But if we don't catch those kids young and get it instilled into them that just what you said, you know, if you're gonna drop out, if you're not gonna go to college, you're gonna be poor. Some of them are gonna sit there and go, I'll sell drugs. Some of them are gonna sit there and go, I'll get a computer degree on my phone. But they need to understand the real picture of what life is about, and I just wonder how we can build that into these programs as well. It's kind of a, you know, wake up and smell the coffee young people, because the younger we get them interested in what they could do with the availability of this, even though they're in a remote and rural environment, Klamath Lake, you know, here, you know, we've got myriad opportunities. We've got to get those minds to where they're plugged into that as excitement for them.
But there many ways to do this, but one of them is, as a community, you all need to be on the same page. And not moving on after high school, for example. You know, as a community, you need to know that you don't know where to die. You know, that was before, but we as a community are on board that we need to do something after high school. And so not only do you need to graduate, 100% of your no dropouts. I mean, that's, you know, and I think you got a pretty good here. I see some of your numbers at the moment, so I don't think that's a problem right now. So, but you need to make sure that we need to say, you know, you need something after high school, a technical program or a transfer, whatever. So as a community, one voice. We as a community support this, something after high school. And then after that, you need to really start this at the lowest levels as possible. You need to start, you know, in middle school or even before that, really to ingrain the pathway, the career. We have presentations over there in some middle schools that we present to middle schoolers. And as a matter of fact, we had kindergartens with a date in the back. You know, I think it was 3 years ago. The date in the back where they were going to graduate. You know, the backpacks. You know, so our community, it used to be, maybe it wasn't here, it used to be a denial. Our community, for the most part, is no longer a denial. So, because we're trying to deal with a huge poverty rate issue. And crime will follow that, if not there already. The drugs and all that. So, community needs to be one voice. You need to do something after high school. It's not acceptable just to have a high school diploma. Because more than likely, you are going to be poor. It goes with mulatto, but more likely that's not going to happen. You know, or you could, you know, maybe you have an inheritance from your parents or something. But those are anomalies. For the general population, that is not the facts. So, and then also, how do you implement some of this mindset at the lowest grades, 5th grade, 6th grade, and presentations and so on, and you know, middle school. And also that support mechanism, because many times that's where it starts changing in middle school, either the right way or the wrong way. And we are working quite a bit over there with presentation. We can do the same thing here, if you will, if you need that. Presentations from some of our faculty and so on at the middle schools. So we can see how that may happen. So really educating our children at the lowest levels, they need something, and supporting them. And obviously, sometimes the family structure data shows that it's not like it used to be. It is breaking down. So many times, as educators, we're the only bright spot for these students. How do we do that? You know, that teacher, that administrator, that makes that difference. You know, for that child, for that student. And we as educators could be the last ones that we do it. So we didn't get into this business, you know, because of the money. I just told you my son, the oldest, you know, we didn't get into this business as educators for the money. I got into this business, I'm going to personalize it, to change people's lives through education. That's why I got into this business, and I'm very purposeful about that. You know, so Anyway, so how do you hire, teachers that are really careful people? Maybe you have already. At KCC, I got a raised eyebrow. One of the first things I did is I was on the search committee for every faculty, for every teacher. That's unheard of for a president to do that. Why did I do that? I want to make sure that whoever we're hiring meets our values and our goals as an institution. What about people? This is not a cushy job. I get the summers off. I remember one time, I think it was my first year I was there, we were interviewing a professor, I forgot what discipline it was. But then I asked him, well, why did you choose education? Why? Oh, I want my summers off. Next. I mean, I'm not saying that's bad. My wife laughed at that too. I'm not saying, but you need to be purposeful. That's what drove me. Drives me today to spend all these hours and to be here because I'm purposeful. We have faculty and staff, administrators that think the same way. And so we need to hire the right people too, that care for people, the right teachers. So all those things, the community being behind this, behind education, hitting students at the lowest levels as possible and having educators that care for people. And that's how you put in the extra hours sometimes as teachers. That student that's lingering around that wants a little bit of help in mathematics, that you say, I'm gonna sit down, let's talk about that. I remember having that, that's it, let's talk about that. But you don't get paid for that. You get paid in much better ways. And you find potential in your life. You find purpose in your life. So those things, and there's many other things. Obviously, there's support mechanisms, more counselors sometimes, it helps. That's where grants come in. I know that we are in the process of writing a pretty large grant to really assist K-12s, the counseling, especially in the middle schools. So working together, we are writing this grant, and we're writing it ourselves because we have the relationship with the Department of, is it the TRIO Department of Ed? Is that right? Yeah, Department of Ed. We have those relationships already. We already have a large grant with them. They know us. We got the grant writer. But it's really about K-12 because that's what money's going for the most part. And it's a lot of this middle school. How many counselors do we send in that grant? 3. And it's not about us. And I remember when we were looking at that grant, we were writing it, the question was, where should these students go? Remember that meeting too? And what was my answer? Wherever they need to go. Just get educated. They need to come to KCC. Wherever, it's fine. But it is our work, it is our staff, time and all that. But again, you do the right thing for others. It will work out. So this is for K-12. So that is for counselors right at the middle school. It's called the TRIO. It's a TRIO grant. It's called the talent search grant. This is right around probably $1.1 million. So there's the partnerships working together that you're not alone. You're not alone. We're here to help you, to assist you any way possible. So just show us what your needs are. Working together. Now, having said that, I do sometimes ask, what are your needs? And I do get this, but then when I say, okay, I need this, there's no follow-through. So I move on. And that's not how I conduct my business. I have to say, maybe you did do that. Yes, no follow-through. I was here several years ago. Get follow-through in business. So, anyway, any more questions? Please.
I wonder, this little bit, what Julie was talking about, the statistics that we don't have college ready, your development.
Yeah.
So do you see any shifts coming through the state to maybe change what we're doing in the younger grades, or required to do in the younger grades, so that we can accommodate that change at the top? Because it would seem that needs to change a little bit in order to get everybody to keep going to school at high school. Does that make sense? Or do you need the help of the state?
Absolutely, I can. Okay, so the question is, do you have any help from the state? What was part of it, and then what? Okay, so the short answer, no. No, we can't depend on state. We can't. We'll work with them and whatever. But major changes like this, we have to do ourselves. And you used to do that. You're isolated. You do your things yourself. So that's one of the things that I picked up from this community. So we do things ourselves. We don't depend. Now, we ask for assistance if possible, every now and then. So one of the things, so how do we do this? Obviously, we talked about college grade. One of the things that really is a paradigm shift But I'm not gonna tell you how to run your business in the K-12. So, but I see this in Texas. There's no more dead year as a high school senior. You know, there's that culture, you know, I had that, you know, years ago. There's that, you know, when I became a senior, you know, I had minimal classes, and I don't know if that's happening here, but it is happening in other areas. That's filled in with college credit. You know, none of this dead year stuff. And it does happen in, you know, I see some stuff like in metro areas, even in some areas where we're at, you know, Klamath, there is some of that. But we gotta get rid of that. You know, so it looks like maybe doing that here already. So that year, no. That year you focus on moving on to college. You get prepared for the rigors of college. You know, so then when you transfer, you know, if you transfer to us, you're not taking debt and you're not building student debt. You are ready for college level classes. And hopefully you bring in a certificate that you're already with you. Great. You've got a running start now, you know, on your pathway. So that's one thing that we're already doing some stuff already. So the other thing is maybe even more college credit. See what other technical programs maybe we can do a little bit better. How can we do that, especially in Lakeview? So because not every student wants to transfer. Not every student wants to be an MD or a PhD. So sometimes they just want to trade. That's good. We need people like that. You know, so you know, they want to be a plumber, or they want to be a welder, or whatever. We have some of that too. So how do we get those technical programs, CTE, here? So I know over there because we're over there. Some of the students are being bused to the campus because we have cutting edge labs over there. We have excellent labs. So how do we do that? Because you are 100 miles away. So how do we do that here? We have to find, you know, we come together. I don't have the answers, but I think between all of us, we do have some answers. We come together, we try to meet a need. So
Related to that,
sure.
okay. What the people are doing right now is a lot of alignment on curriculum between, you probably know, is between the high school and the college. A lot of it I just talked about, our staff members, Kelly's going to be spending the day with the K-12 teachers, I think, over the next month, really looking at their language. So I think Common Core is going to help. We're going to study to that level of rigor, and then we're aligning with the college within the rest of that. So we're really engaged with that right now. I think that's going to be able to build that.
That's right. Yeah, so we worked on that. It was a couple of years ago. Yeah, curriculum development. And I think somebody asked me, "Oh, wow, you know, so you guys are talking more about this?" Sure, that was a long time ago. You know, the teachers at the high school and the professors, you know, the expectations of, you know, Algebra 101. You know, student, you need to start working on this so when you do graduate, you are ready for Algebra 101. You know, so then that means you got to take a certain math classes and so on, you know, in high school. So that line, and then the faculty, the teachers here are aligning that curriculum, are teaching that already on that pathway. You know, so yes, we did some of that work a couple of years ago, but we could do more of that. So.
I've got one more thought.
Sure.
This is kind of going out on a limb here, but since you mentioned the technical classes you haven't done so well with the nursing program, I'm also a member of the Community Advisory Council on the Community Health Improvement Project here in Lake County. We had a community meeting, and a dear local citizen from a rural and part of our county said quietly, and not thinking that she could speak up in the group to share her opinion, but I encouraged her to do so. She said we need to achieve more responsibility with the disbursement of our social services. What that meant was, she said, we have got young girls going down into junior high and below who say, oh, you don't have to get married, you don't have to go to school, you just buy yourself a cowboy and have yourself a baby, and they send you a check. Now, no offense to anyone or any demographic at all, but my concern here is that there seems to be a mindset, and again, my comment earlier about the support for the kids who don't have folks in their lives who believe in college, who understand the value, who believe in these kids, to encourage them in their future dreams and goals, who seem to sit back and say, well, you know, I'll produce more people and somebody will help me do that. Somebody will provide for me. And, you know, again, like I say, no judgment here, there, or otherwise on that. People are in all kinds of situations for all reasons. But what discourages me is that that opinion had been heard multiple times, and this lady was a very credible woman. And what I see is that kids are just like short-sighting their possibilities for the future. They're short-sighting what they could be able to do, to give, to receive, to gain for their investment in their world by just saying, hey, I'm in your families. And, you know, again, no diss on that, because Marine Families is a wonderful, blessed gift, a station, a mantle. But we seem to have a lot of folks that think, I mean, okay, bottom line is, you know, you want to eat, you got to work, okay? So you can work at something you just have to work at and hate it, or you can't, according to your statistics. Or, you know, you start looking to enhance your own skills so that you can better yourself and fulfill yourself and do better for your family ultimately without that support that comes from somewhere. Because the bottom line on that, my feeling is that support's not going to be there forever. And young people are getting this mindset that it's like, oh, you know, I'll fill out some form and I can get some assistance. But as long as it continues generationally, then you're losing whole groups of people.
I think the welfare program was changed in the late 90s. So you're not on welfare, definitely. I think there's a 4 or 5 years you gotta get out, you gotta go to work. Now, as far as children, when it's not their fault that they're hungry, I do believe we need to help out as much as possible. But so well, how do we install that work ethic in people? That's a tough one. You know, it's families, it's if you have a broken home, how do you do that? But I don't have that answer. I mean, I think back in my life, how my father instilled that in me, that work ethic. But then not everybody had a father like me, like mine. So anyway, that's a tough one. I don't know, how do you do that? So people don't depend on the welfare system. And so
keep that in mind, but I was encouraged to think as you spoke about the fact that your faculty and folks, you know, the work to learn people will come and give programs for our classes, and I'm thinking that maybe some of the folks who want to go into nursing, who've seen the realities of, you know, difficulties of childbirth, you know, conditions of children that come into the world of fetal alcohol, or, you know, meth depressed, or whatever else could be happening. Let's look at how important it is that you as an individual go out and do the best you can with what you have and enhance your skills. And then when it is time to raise that child, which is a minimum of a 20-year commitment, a minimum, it's not easy. You know, it's not easy, and that's not where you're going to get the love, because they're the ones that need all of it, and a lot of times that's why young people do that.
we are working with the SNAP program, Julie, I think.
Yes.
We are working in how do we prepare students, people that are in welfare, to make sure that they're going to a professional career. We're writing a grant. I know that the CEO of that area is also the CEO here. Is that correct? Jeremy?
Yes, Jeremy.
So both areas. So we are working with that grant to have curriculum for these people that are in welfare, for lack of a better word. So they are more ready to go to college. It's not kind of trade or a technical program. So I think we'll know about that grant pretty soon from the curriculum. We're going to get that actually. We have the success already. So then we've talked to Jeremy, how does Lakeview involved with that? So again, he oversees this Lakeview office too. So Jeremy Player is his name. He's the CEO of the whole. Jeremy Player. Yeah. Player. Player, yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to say something about that there's definitely almost like a thing with high school is having sort of a college track or college bound track. The college bound track is very strong. It's like a super highway. Scholarships, year to 4 years, you get the grades, you get the scholarship, pretty much that's how I understand it. So that's a very strong, very clear track for people who are able to maintain their grade and their college bound. So you have that real strong element of college culture at the high school. However, the people who are not getting the grades, maybe don't have the same family support, they're not on that super highway track. They fall off it fairly soon, I would imagine, as they start not getting the grades. And so then there's like a little dirt road or maybe a little gravel road now over to the center where they make their way to us over in the college center, and they discovered that, oh, maybe they could have a college life. And we're trying very hard to show the college culture there, share movies and snacks, and make sure they can eat during the day, at least keep their, their energy up, and coffee, or coffee and tea, or study hall and couches, they're having meetings, student party, and I think, as we're sitting here talking, I'm thinking that we could do more about bringing that whatever percentage of high schoolers do not need the daily world, daily thought of the college. Right, whether it's not on those going in that direction or able to get those scholarships, we need to know the other people, and they can bring them through our center before they graduate college, before they graduate high school, maybe when they're juniors or something. So if they know there's a place for them, they know that even if their parents are in college, there's a place where they can go to college right here in town. Right now, I think we're sort of getting the ones who are motivated enough and are sent, over because maybe they're academically ready enough. But maybe there's others that we haven't thought about. They're just given up a long time ago. Maybe we can just bring them through the center and say, hey, there's a place for you. And there are them that, we can help them in various ways, and maybe they can, find that path to college that, maybe it'll stop the gravel road, it'll get started, see it'll be an easier road and a clearer road too, I think, because when there's such a strong college culture on the one hand, and then not a very clear path on the other hand, is the people that are not on a very clear path that don't really know where to go, because you're not going to super help.
I hope that maybe we can do a better job on marketing ourselves in Lake County, KCC Lakeview, so.
Anybody that has to come and visit us, really should. See how very culture is developing.
Yes. Very out of time here, so thank you very much. So I appreciate everybody.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything Roberto has said as far as advancing opportunities for students leading it on the college path or something beyond high school. I appreciate the great work of the ILC. We're doing some pretty good programs at the high school. We're trying to avert this path away from poverty in education through the AVID program. You want to tell them about that a little bit more?
So our AVID program next year, we're going to go school-wide. So we're going to go. Do you want me to say more?
It's really cool, everybody really should know.
You really want me to be okay. So right now, so our AVID program right now is we have one classroom of 7th graders and one classroom of 8th graders, and we are going to go school-wide next year. So we will offer AVID for groups of 7 through 11. And so we'll have a teacher that has a class, and they will, we haven't decided what that's going to look like yet, but so that it does get those middle of the road kids. It gets those kids that haven't traveled across to the gravel, because those are the kids that, are not necessarily the kids that have parents that have gone to college. And so there's a whole process in how we look at that and to give them that college-going culture. They do visits, we have guest speakers, and also, I think KCC, just by their admissions counselor coming this year, we have a lot of kids. I think Learning Promise is going to be a huge thing for us. Lakeview, I think it was 40 some of our kids, and we have like a 56. Is that what it was? So some of those are advanced diplomas, but it was because of our partnership with you guys that we are there. And so we're working on a lot of things.
Thanks, Lauren.
Okay, Lonnie. District 7 crew, board, and myself have to excuse ourselves for a school board meeting, and it's been a privilege to be here this evening. Thank you, KCC, and all the workforce.